actor when I grew up, so I'm trying out a couple parts. Hey, who all is awake this morning? That is one of the blessings, a little bit different this year, is we get a little bit more sleep and can kind of be a little bit more awake. But even some of y'all still showed up late, but it's totally okay. We're good. Over the past couple years, I have invested in some really good friends and have continued to made some of those opportunities and met some of those people sitting in this crowd. To have moments like AYL, like chaos, like a lot of those moments, we really got to connect and be able to stay together through all these years, even after college and getting into jobs and stuff like that. So I wanted to bring up a friend today who, once upon a time, we were sitting exactly where y'all were. And were we troublemakers? I tell you what, I want to invite to the stage Langdon Hollingsworth. Y'all give a round of applause for him. So, Langdon, some of these people know who you are, but not everybody. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're actually doing right now in this moment.
Sure, yeah. My name is Langdon. I grew up here in the church, spent many years sitting right where all of you guys are sitting. Went to Georgia Tech for college and then graduated and moved to Panama, having actually never been there before, to work for a clean water nonprofit called Soleo Water. I really developed a heart for water and for missions, and one thing just kind of led to another, and now we're back here.
Yeah. It is an amazing experience. We have a young adult Bible study on Wednesday nights over Zoom, and this man is in Panama and still comes and zooms in to come and hang out for all those things. When I heard about where you had been and what you had been doing, it really kind of was jaw-dropping, because I think a lot of us would all agree is we were very crazy students.
Oh, absolutely.
We were just reckless and wild, and we didn't really have a plan or a focus for a lot of those things. And I'm sure, I don't know if that was this specifically your plan going forward, or how did God kind of intervene in some of those moments in your life?
Man, I tell you, it was not my plan to go to Panama. I will say, going through college and stuff, and there's just such a, everybody's kind of talking about, what job are you going to get, and what's your salary going to be, and this, that, and the other, right? And so I was planning to go this corporate route.
Yeah.
But had done some, work over the summers and stuff during college, where had worked for some businesses and just didn't feel that it was, where God wanted me to be. And actually through getting involved in off-campus kind of student organizations, God really touched my heart and put in me a passion for Latin America and specifically for clean water. And then upon graduation, I kind of had a decision to make, whether I was going to go into the corporate world and, with a big salary or whatever it is, or follow what God wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And ultimately, at the end of the day, I chose to jump into what God had wanted me to do, and hey, I've never looked back, and never been happier for certain.
That's amazing. And I think the opportunities, the moments where kind of God shifts our life and is able to restore us, right? It is an amazing and blessing experience.
Amen.
And I'm sure that didn't happen overnight. So I just kind of, hey, who were the people who kind of influenced your life a lot to be able to say, hey, this might be a different route God is taking you on, and there's opportunities for you outside of just the regular 9 to 5, maybe going into ministry wise?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So I would say there were a few key people throughout growing up, and especially throughout college at Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. And I think, the names of these people isn't particularly that important. What's important is these people were people that were always willing to challenge me in the decisions that I made.
Yeah.
Right? I think in all of our lives, we have people that say, oh, well, have you thought about this? Or have you thought about this? Or that? Or, I really see that you're really good at this. Have you thought about something that may allow you to pursue that more fully? Mm-hmm. And so I think the people that have been most influential in my life were the people that saw potential in me apart from what I had been doing.
Yeah.
And encouraged me to pursue that and encouraged me to try out a different route. Those were always the kind of people that got me thinking. And I want to say we all have some people like that in our lives, that have at least encouraged you to try something new, encouraged you to look into something new or try something you may not have tried. And giving opportunity to those people, I think, has really been, and especially, to people who are close with the Lord and who can encourage me and say, look, I was praying and, I think God, wants me to tell you this. Listening to those kind of people, has I think, put me where I am now, for sure, without
absolutely.
a doubt.
One of the big things I think we talk about as a staff team up here is that just because I have this job does not mean I am better up on a pedestal. That we're all broken people, like Pastor Brandon talked about. Yeah. So when we talk about moments of going into ministry or different opportunities that look outside of what a regular corporate job looks like, it's a little intimidating for maybe a crowd like this saying, maybe I'm not good enough to go and do missions. Maybe I'm not good enough to go pursue what's after what God has put onto their heart. What would you say to some of these students who have some of those passions and desires to follow and pursue some of the dreams that God has put into their place and go and say, hey, Jesus has put me on this path, that I am good enough, that he is the one that's going to make me whole, and I don't have to live up to this perfection of a pedestal up here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say in terms of the feeling like you're not good enough, there is a ton of that in the regular 9-to-5 world and in the corporate world, and I bet some of you are already experiencing that now. Maybe those who are started thinking about colleges and stuff like that, or even in growing up in middle and high school, where there's all these different cliques and friend groups and stuff, like that's abundant, and that doesn't change when you get into college and when you start looking for jobs. Like those same pressures are there. Mm-hmm. But what I found is when you feel that nudge from the Lord and you feel that God is maybe saying, hey, you should look into this, or hey, when you realize hey, I have this spiritual gift, or God says, hey, you have this spiritual gift, you should look into pursuing something along those lines. There's a confidence that you just is so much harder to find in what the world tells you should be pursuing. Mm-hmm. And so what I would say is I would encourage all of you to figure out, okay, well, what are my spiritual gifts? Because every one of you has been put on this earth by God for a purpose. And each one of you has specific gifts unique to yourself. Mm-hmm. And so what I would say is figure out what those gifts are and figure out ways that you can get involved and apply those to the world, because I've found that by doing that, I've found more joy than any corporate position could ever afford me. So.
Yeah. Last thing to kind of land on, let's both go back about 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Sitting in a regular chaos service, trying to barely maybe paying attention at all whatsoever. What advice would you give middle school or high school Langdon during those times?
Yeah, man, that's such a great question. And it's a difficult question, right? Because going back, there's so many, there's so many pressures, and you guys are under so much different stresses and pressures, that it's, I feel for you, and I can empathize with, how tough it is to be in y'all's position. But I would say, look, find opportunities, just kind of like what I was saying, find opportunities to figure out what you're good at, figure out what the Lord has blessed you with, what skills, what desires God has blessed you with, and pour into those, really just reach out, try different things, serve in different ways, because I've found that through service, and through especially service that comes out of a gift that the Lord has given you, mm-hmm. is more fulfilling, and there's more joy than really, in my experience, anything that I've ever had. Mm. And so I would tell myself to just reach out, and instead of toiling and stressing so much about the pressures of this life, to just find ways that you can get outside of yourself and serve other people, because by serving others, I've found there's far more joy in it you can ever find serving yourself.
Absolutely. Come on. as we're talking about missions and a lot of those things, we wanted to give y'all opportunities to go and serve, to be able to be a part of what God's doing, a part in this church and the rest of the community. So later today, we're actually going to have an opportunity to be able to go and fundraise for Langdon's ministry. And as well as that, we have summer opportunities for missions. Middle school, we're going to Memphis. In high school, we're going to Pensacola.
Come on.
And I would be so enthralled to see every single one of y'all there. Specifically on missions, when you get to be the hands and feet of Jesus and be able to serve him on the ground. That was such an opportune 2020 vision moment for me. That is when I got saved. Going into high school on a mission trip, going to North Carolina, that's when Jesus really pursued after my heart. So I would encourage you to go to some of those missions. It's June 19th through the 25th through both of those. And y'all go check out this video real fast to get some more information.